Hello, my name is Omar Abasad. It is Friday, May 4th, 2018 at 11:52 a.m. in Toronto. So I'm going to talk about the ongoing verbal assaults and the community targeting trafficking program. So, and before I go on, I had some tweets posted on ROSHINI 911 this morning. That was me. And all the tweets were mine, just to confirm that. So I talked about a few things about my family and so on, and how they're being intimidated into taking part in this program. So let's go back to trafficking and how it's done using the community targeting program as a cover. So in my case, I started being reported on about 5 or 6 years ago by a male in my work environment who had taken me out of the system to surveil me, or maybe was surveilling me on behalf of somebody else in the company that had taken me out of the system, because I was flagged from this building as somebody who was suspected of being a prostitute, mentally ill, and so on. So this was all going on while I was working as a property accountant. So there was no mental illness, obviously. So the reporting started at that point, and the reports were piggybacked on. So I am suspecting, from what I heard outside the window from the the harasser outside the window, that the brother also took it out of the system to surveil me. Keep in mind, none of this surveillance, this flagging, this need for surveillance by the police, I'm suspecting, and the outsourcing of the surveillance by the police, none of this was disclosed to me. The flagging was not disclosed to me. None of it was disclosed to me. So I was being illegally surveilled, harassed, followed around by all kinds of people, kids, criminals, drug addicts, pimps, all kinds of people, followed around by foot and by car. Um, so the piggybacking continued, and it progressively criminalized me in the reports that was never disclosed to me, nor was I given due processing at any point in time. And the idea that I was mentally ill was also piggybacked on. So it was registered up and flagged so many times in the system with the police that in the police database, I'm now considered absolutely, absolute. I keep hearing the word absolute, absolutely, absolutely, that I'm mentally ill and a prostitute. And I have to be picked up because, oh my God, there's an emergency and I can't pay my bills and I can't keep a job because, oh my God, I lost so many jobs so quickly in so many years, when really it was infiltration in the workplace that was happening, and illegal surveillance in the workplace, and harassment in the workplace. So, and targeting in the workplace. So all of this, of course, is in the public arena because the community is doing it. So the idea is to have everybody know the phrases. Everybody knows about what's going on and about this person who's supposed to be this hugely criminal person who used to be a prostitute and probably still is, none of which is true. So the idea of labeling somebody as mentally ill and a prostitute and a criminal minded, and transferring the person around so these people can see you share and then take it quite a few steps further and have these people who are looking at you and who are so-called monitoring you, quote unquote, actually gerbling you and looking at you as you sleep and living with you, basically, because they're looking at you inside your home, inside the bathroom, and bedroom, and 24/7. Sometimes they rotate. So if there are teams that the monitor is working with, and this way the person is stigmatized in the eyes of the public. Obviously not in my eyes, because I know who I am and I know what I did and I know why I did it. So I'm not stigmatized in my own eyes, or else I wouldn't be sitting here talking like this. None of it was internalized by me because I know who I am, and I know what I could do and what I'm capable of doing. So none of all of this reporting, this labeling, this constant flagging, the constant harassment, the constant verbal abuse by my family, by friends that I used to have, who's been infiltrated, of course, coworkers. I mean, they may affect me temporarily, but definitely none of it was internalized. I may be hurt by it, but it's not resonating. Therefore, it's not being internalized. So the idea of all of this is to stigmatize you, so that nobody will give you a job as an accountant, as I am, because you're stigmatized. Nobody wants you in the workplace, whether or not you're really not a prostitute or mentally ill. The stigma is there. So just looking at you, all these thoughts and ideas are going to come into the person's mind, and nobody wants to work with you. In my case, this is not true, because none of it is inside of me, and what I project and what I think, and then the way I treat people and the way I treat myself is not reflective of all of this garbage that's floating around me in the public anywhere I go about me. All these negative ideas and these negative thoughts and these negative labeling. None of it is true. Therefore, I'm not reflecting it off my person. In other words, I have a different vibe. I don't have a criminal vibe. I don't have a vibe of being a prostitute, because I'm not. Just the opposite. So when somebody comes to me and talk, and they have all these ideas in their heads, and they talk to me, and without understanding why I'm so different from this perception that they have of me, they would think I'm acting. This is all a form of acting, which of course it's not. It's simply projecting what I really am, which is the complete opposite of the picture that's being painted of me. So this is all a way of recruitment. This is recruitment. This is a recruitment process. Spreading the rumor first, trafficking the person remotely, remotely raping the person, and stigmatizing the person until it gets to the point that the person can't find a job because nobody wants the person around based on this image. And number two, that's the first step. And number two, it causing the person to, or wanting the person to, internalize all these lies. If 10 men, or 100 men, or 1,000 men looked at you inside your home and sent lasers up your vagina, you're supposed to be a prostitute. That's like saying, I accessed this computer last night, and a million people accessed the same computer. So the computer somehow is violated. I'm not saying my body is a computer. What I'm saying is the human body at this point in time in our history, in our technological development, the progress of that. Our bodies are like computers. We are putting chips in it. We are reading our brainwave patterns remotely, Wi-Fi, without chips in our brain. We're just picking up the brainwave signals. So really, our body, I guess, in a sense, let me say that again. Let me rephrase that. In a sense, our bodies are computers, and more so if you put chips in them. So if a million men or a million people accessed your body like they would a computer, that doesn't make you a prostitute. It does not make you a prostitute. It's simply somebody assaulting you, basically. This is a physical, psychological assault, being not a computer. We're not, the body is similar to a computer, but we're not a computer because we have emotions attached to it. So you are being violated. However, that doesn't make you a prostitute. The idea is to make you be perceived as a prostitute and worked on as a prostitute by people, treated as a prostitute because now you're this raped, contaminated, violated person, and you have no other choice but to be a prostitute because this is what the community wants at this point in time in your life. You have no other choice but to be a prostitute or a sex slave. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All that's going to happen in my case is you're giving me fodder to work on, to expose what's going on as I'm doing right now, and to give me material to think about, to use to develop my own self, to train people to understand the signs of the crime that's being committed against not only women, and I think this crime is being committed equally on men as they are violating women equally, because there's a lot of people who are interested in both sexes. So, and the people who are taking part in this program, especially so, they go both ways, which I'm not pronouncing a judgment on. I'm just saying it's a fact. So men are equally violated this way. The difference is they accept it and they don't talk. They don't push back. They don't retaliate. They accept it. Because if they talk, they will lose face. They will lose the social image that they have. They will lose social standing and they will not talk. This is the difference between me and a lot of women and men. Men will not talk. They will not talk. They just will not talk if they don't agree with what's going on. So this is the whole process that's being used here in my case. And it's not going to work. I'm not a prostitute, never have been. I'm not going to become one. You can access my body as much as you want. That does not make me a prostitute. Therefore, I'm not going to internalize it. Talk to you another time.